Alright guys, what's going on? This is Team Rocket. Today I'm going to be having a talk with my teammate Polakos here, and how long have you been playing this game?
Since 2012, when the game was still a beta release. A cranky mess.
So literally over a decade, this dude's been playing PokeMMO, so I kind of just wanted to ask him some questions, just kind of pick his brain a little bit, see what the game used to be like, just because I started playing December of 2023, so I missed out a good decade of what the game was like back then. Obviously, we know you've been playing since 2012, but is there a specific time period in the game's history that was like your favorite? Like, oh, 2014 was the best of the best because like the events or whatever. Like, is there anything in your mind that you're like, yeah, that was a good time?
For me, the best time was when I got back in 2019. I took a little break around 2014, early 2014, and got back to the game 2019. When the game released for the Android devices. It was an early beta, so everything was slow, no hordes, no anything. Leveling up was a mess. Back then in 2013 and 2012, we have two PokeMMOs. This one and Pokemon World Online, if you're familiar with it.
I am not. I've never heard of that one.
That was even worse than PokeMMO back then, but it was what we had.
So when you say slow, do you just mean like the way that you'd farm like Pokemon and train them, or do you mean like the actual game itself was just like slower, like it ran slow?
Laggy servers, small servers.
Gotcha. Well, you said you took a little bit of a hiatus, but is there a specific like event in particular that like you're like this was, the best event I've ever attended, like the 2017 Halloween event or, something random like that?
I would say the 10th anniversary was one of my favorites, especially when they introduced the alphas. We had no ideas what alphas were back then. There were alphas with no specific, the guaranteed 31 IVs. I have the first Pikachu alpha I got.
You have an alpha that doesn't have a 31?
Yes, give me 1 minute to find it. I have it in my box.
Those are worth a little bit extra money, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, but they're, to keep since they have no IVs to pass down. Four alphas were released back then: Pikachu, Eevee, Meowth, and Clefairy. They were one of a kind encounter. They were there all day for one whole day, and they went about 6 months for the next alphas to be officially released. The first alpha spawn was either a Crobat or a Patrat. Not actually sure.
Do you remember what like the community's overall reaction to like when alphas were dropped? Because I'm assuming alphas aren't a part of like the main game. This is like a PokeMMO thing, and like it's a unique thing. So like, was there like a negative community reaction, like, oh, this isn't the real Pokemon or something like that?
No, they liked it. They liked the luck. It was breath of fresh air. Most people master balled them. They had no idea. There was no contrary ability back then. My boxes are a mess. I have 30 boxes.
Yeah, I imagine after playing for over a decade, you're probably like absolutely overwhelmed with the amount of mon that you have.
30 boxes, and 27 of them are full of alphas.
Oh, so you got all the first batch.
Yep.
Oh, that's
So for my
awesome.
alts,
So wow, okay.
if you check the information, it's a
Fateful
fateful encounter.
encounter. This is actually a pretty insane Eevee. The heck?
Yeah, and I have three more from my other three alts.
A Jolly Meowth of 25 attack is pretty insane. Wow. So this is really cool. So like for anybody watching like that, the alphas back then it wasn't guaranteed to have a 31 like it is nowadays. It's crazy how you still have these.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how did you end up in Team ROO of all teams? Why did you pick Team ROO after playing for so long?
I used to be for another team called Meow. Unfortunately, that team got disbanded, so I got here by accident.
Do you have any like super rare and unique vanities from like way back in the day that you have on your account from playing back then that are worth a lot of money?
I was stupid back then. When I returned to the game to 2019, I sold everything to make some gas that I needed and lost them all. I have some like red Oni masks.
Zombie grip particle effect, red omnimess. Sick, dude. Do you remember like what the game was like back then? And if you do, like how much has it like changed since, from back then to like now?
So the game back then, as I said, was slow paced. No animations in battle. If you wanted to train, IV training, you had to train the Pokemon one by one by battling one Pokemons. No double encounters, no horde battles, nothing.
Were there expert lures back then?
No
Strictly?
lures, no anything.
Really?
Lures came about 2 years ago, I believe. Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. I couldn't imagine just walking back
You
and
have
forth and
only.
doing one encounter
Yeah.
at a time. You know how long it
This
takes
is
to
why
level a
they're
mon to 100?
only. I know, believe me, I know. Another thing. I remember you could not participate in PvP matches with any Pokemon over 50 level. So the Dragonites were out. Not use any Dragonite in the PvP. When you were doing the story run, if you lost to a gym leader back then, for example, you tried to beat Brock and lost to Brock, you can battle the gym leader again in 6 hours, 6 real-time hours. I believe they changed it in 2013.
Oh, okay. So that was like a really old feature.
My starter was Charmander. Beating Brock was tougher than taking Bulbasaur or Squirtle. I lost in the first battle, so I tried to rebattle Brock and said you can battle again in 6 hours.
That's such a bad mechanic because like if you're starting the game and you lose your gym, then like you're just hard stuck there for 6 hours. You just can't play the game.
This is the guy who's stuck in Kanto for almost a year.
Okay, well like
Yeah, you were kinda route locked, let's say. You tried to be the first boss of the game and you were stuck there for 6 hours. Of course, you uninstall the game.
yeah, no, that would make me quit if I lost the gym and I realized I had to stay there. I'd just be like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna play this. That's dumb. I'm glad they fixed that because that's a questionable feature. Are there any other like weird mechanics like that you remember?
I remember when the hordes first introduced, when you were beating the hordes, instead of dying all together, they died one by one. So you're waiting. First of all, the first horde Pokemon died, the second, third. So you have to wait 5 life bars to go down, and then you can end the battle to start a new one.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
So
Another
you
cool
literally
mechanic.
you literally
Not
discharged and it would be like 10 seconds for like each bar to go down.
Yes, another mechanic, a cool mechanic I used to love, but they removed it, was when you had a frisk Pokemon like Manette, and you were fighting in a horde, and one of the Pokemon had the held item. It would actually show which Pokemon had the held item next to their health bar.
That's super nice quality of life. So that's the one reason I'm turned off from doing like frisk thieving and 5 times swords for like amulet coins, for example. I don't like
Kill
that you
them
have to
all one by
guess.
one.
Considering there were no like 5 times swords or expert lures back then, was money making methods substantially different back then?
You could not trade money.
Really? Like at all?
The only thing you could trade were Pokemon and items.
Oh, so you couldn't even if your friend like started playing, you couldn't even give him like a 5 million to like get his skid on his feet. Like you couldn't trade money at
Nothing.
all.
You could only give items. You could buy some Pokeballs and give them to the new player.
Were you like rich back then?
Nope, I didn't have the time to. I was a student back then. I was at my university, 21. When I had a free time, after I completed the game, you had nothing else to do, just PvP and trying to get the legendary shinies. There were no shinies back then. There were like one in a million. The chance to find a shiny back then was still the what we call one in 30,000, but it was all single encounters.
I think it's really cool to see where the game has come since back then. Like you mentioned, it was like a lot, it was very laggy back then. There weren't even like lures or 5 times swords, and like now we're raids are gonna be coming out soon, which is like gonna be completely like unique content. Like all
It's
the new
the
stuff that's
quality.
dropping. It's really cool.
Everything goes faster. Amulet coins and lucky eggs were not consumables, they were held items. But finding a lucky egg was pretty difficult. You had to go to Safari, find the Chansey, cut the Chansey, and expect the Chansey to have a lucky egg.
Yeah, when lucky eggs weren't consumable back then, right? That's why they were worth a lot of money. You would just it was like the OG game where you just had it and it would work.
I remember you were trading back then lucky eggs for rare Pokemon. Like a shiny was worth like 3 or 5 lucky eggs.
Oh, so people would use lucky eggs as kind of like currency.
Yes, the eggs were the main currency until I believe 2013 or 14, where they patched the game and added the money trade.
It's crazy now because they're only worth like 40, 50K now.
Yes, with all the charms and everything, lucky eggs became obsolete. No one hunts for them.
Was there any other like item like that at all?
I believe it was the life orb as well.
Okay,
I
okay.
think there was a Absol encounter somewhere in Kanto.
You played back in 2012. What was the community like back then? Has there been like a big shift in like how the community behaves and how they how they act or whatever? Or has it been relatively the same, friendly?
The community is still the same, especially global. Everyone says anything,
Yeah, I mean
bans all
global's
the
the Wild
time.
West. If you could change anything about the game or a specific update, is there anything that stands out? And if so, what would that be?
I wouldn't change much. The game is perfect as it is. I would add a Little Cup tournament for the PvP because Little Cup is something that was in game but removed it.
I've had people ask me to host like a little cup tournament before. Oh, what's like the craziest thing you've ever seen in your time playing Pokemon? Whether that be like a glitch or like just something that you've seen happen or somebody catch something that's like been a one of like. Is there anything that sticks out in particular?
I saw guys had a wild encounter with 5. 5 is 31.
Oh, you seen somebody get a 531 wild encounter?
Yes, one time one guy in the global chat linked 531 got.
Do you know what the like the statistics of that happening, like the probability?
It was something like 1 in 2 or 3 billion chances to get one
That's
time,
fucking
three, four,
insane.
5 or 6 times. Yes.
Have you always been in the shiny hunting, or like have you been into other things? Has that like kind of shifted as the game evolved?
I used to shiny hunt. I mostly train Pokemon for others for money. I used to do EXP services, and I got like 15 to 16 tentacruels.
Oh, like
So I was pretty
shinies.
tired. Yes. So I started selling every tentacruel I had. Last I sold a shiny Pikachu, a shiny single encounter Tangela.
Do you
My
know how
first one was
many
a shiny
OTs you have in
Pokemon.
total?
Right now I have 9. I've sold 15 Tentas, 1 Pidgeotto, 1 Pikachu, 1 Tangela, 1 Zangoose. That was.
Are you no longer in the business of selling OT shinies?
No, no, no.
That's crazy. You've gotten 16 tentas, dude. I don't even want one of them, bro.
Me neither. I started breeding them when I got tired of breeding the 16 Tentas. I started selling them. But I made a nice defensive Tenta.
See, like I feel like if you were gonna sell OT shinies, it would be once you get to that point and you are starting to get like over 10 of the same shiny. Yeah, 2x31. Oh, with the 30 and the 26. Yeah, it's awesome, dude. I also wanted to ask about
So,
I heard mention of there used to be a dupe glitch in the trainer tower. Do you remember that at all?
I think yes, in the early days there was a dupe glitch. It was similar with the ones that were in the main games, where you could duplicate the Pokemon you had in the party. They patched it really quick. They banned some accounts back then.
So was it you could duplicate the
Who were
Pokemon or the items? Because from what I've been told so far, or what I've like researched, is what basically what people would do is they would go into the tower and I think they would like thief the item off the Mon and then they would like lose the
run
battle or
away.
something,
You're
run away, and then they'd be able to keep that
Was
item.
yes, was something like that. I heard there was an duplication glitch for Pokemon back in 2013, before 14, for the trainer tower too. Yeah, there were a lot of glitches back then. They were patched out really quick. But yes, you could thief the item from the opponent, run away, and keep the item. That was patched really quickly and banned a few players. You could do it also to gym leaders or Elite Four.
Oh, so it was just an overall like glitch in the game, like it wasn't just a trainer tower thing.
Yes, I believe so it was. But you had to do it specifically. You had to lose the battle, you had to keep the item.
I appreciate your time, dude. Thank you so much.
No worries at all.